For the third time this season, the stringed instruments are about to play a major part in concert with the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra. This time, star violinist Aislinn Noski and violist and composer Nokuthula Ngwenyama will take the stage to share works by Mozart and Hofhernes in a program called Tides and Transmissions. The orchestra will also share original compositions by the prolific Ngwenyama, whose works have been received warmly all over the world and are informed by not only her prodigious musical career in a wide variety of genres, but also by studies in subjects like theology. Tula Ngwenyama joins us in the Classic 107 studios today. Wonderful to have you here in Winnipeg.
Nolan, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So, without giving too much away, because obviously people need to go and check out this program, what can audiences expect from the two pieces that you will be sharing of yours alongside the MCO?
Well, with new music, people usually want to know, when is it going to end? So I can give you the lengths to start out. I'm going to open the program with Sonoran Storm for solo viola. So I'll be up there on the stage by myself, playing a work based on the monsoons coming through the Sonoran Desert in Arizona. And so that's about 10 minutes. And then Primal Message for String Orchestra, which was expanded from its original version for viola quintet that I premiered with the Dover Quartet in 2017. So that's about, with orchestra, it gets a little slower. So it's about 10 minutes. So 20 minutes of new music, but it's tonal. It's in E-flat major, and I'm really fascinated with the natural world. So Sonoran Storm came to me in the storm. I heard it during that particular storm. Primal Message is based on prime numbers, and the message, the Arecibo message that was sent in 1977 to M13 globular cluster, M13 globular cluster, 50,000 light years away. So just the nature of within our solar, not our solar system, but within our galaxy. Just thinking about what type of message that we could send that would show extraterrestrial life, that we have some sort of intelligence or thought process that's not just based on numbers, but maybe an emotional intelligence, something that could be communicated through numbers, but also through music. So, but of course, we have no idea how extraterrestrials might hear transverse sound waves. So the message could be potentially quite lost on them.
But potentially could also communicate more than even you could have possibly intended to flip that coin around on itself. But the interesting thing about all that, for all of the layers that you just gave to your two pieces, the connection to nature, the hope of connection beyond the stars, the thing that you led with was the lengths. What have your experiences been as you share this kind of music for all of its connection emphasis and for all of the cerebral qualities that it contains? How have your encounters with audiences been over the years, and how have you approached sharing, how have your experiences been sharing that music, that making sure that the lengths and how long people have, making sure you know how people can interact or how long they have to interact with the pieces? Why is that also important to share for you?
Well, I'm composer in residence with the Phoenix Chamber Music Society. And so it's really my honor to be able to introduce new music to that community. And our concert goers in Phoenix, they like to know, because sometimes it might be hard with something that could be unexpected, like a lot of atonal music and I would say like noisy, expressive stuff, sometimes extended technique stuff. It sometimes leaves our concert goers a little dumbfounded, and they kind of look at their watch and say, how much longer is this going to be? So because I know that can be the reaction to new music, and people want to hear it, but then they're also kind of scared, and it's like, okay, well, I'll hear it, but I will allot this much of the programming to it, because in case some concert goers, it just doesn't agree with them. Like, we have to be, as presenters on the presenting side, bringing music to audiences, they have to be cognizant that sometimes the audience doesn't want to go there.
Okay.
I mean, it's painful, but you know, sometimes the audience doesn't want to go there. So that's why with Phoenix, I'll just say, okay, I've written a 10-minute piece, so that they know in the back of their heads, okay, if I don't like it, it's only 10 minutes.
There's
that grace.
Right.
That I appreciate. But the reactions have been, I mean, I'm still their composer in residence, and they've been very encouraging, and they keep saying, oh, just keep writing. So I mean, I think they appreciate that I let them know that it's going to be this, but then they also appreciate the writing, and they keep wanting more. So yeah.
Given that sort of relationship that you've cultivated with that particular concert-going locale, do you find that thinking about those time constraints, or thinking about how this piece is posited to listeners who haven't encountered this music before, do you find that puts a limit on your musical language as you write? In other words, do you think no?
Because I don't write to time like that. I write the piece the way it kind of develops, and I'm more of a novelist in that way. Like some novelists write from beginning to end. Other novelists scramble it all up. Other novelists write different parts of the story at different times, and then like it comes together. I've done it all of those ways. But I generally, like for Flow String Quartet, which is about the Big Bang and our universe, like the creation of our universe up till now, in string quartet form. But with that piece, I started writing it, and the theme of the fourth movement, like developed 30 measures, came out first. And then I went back to the beginning. But I'm like, before I develop this, I have to like establish so much in the language before I can get to this. And so then it was like the beginning of time, and I've got my instrument, and I can show this extended technique.
Please, by all means, the viola has been sitting here on the counter.
Here, yes, but it starts with the violins, because I'm assuming that the beginning of the universe, it wasn't like a bang, it was more like a tear that expanded, and we had some fits and starts. Like we were, the universe, it was churning away, and it kind of burned itself out. And then it like reignited, and it burned itself out. And then we get the epic of reionization, where things start to cool enough that we start to get hydrogen and helium.
Wow.
And then from there, it becomes a little bit more recognizable as the universe and space that we think of as space.
That we think
today.
we know, and we think we can define.
Right. But anyway, so it starts up here, right? And on the bridge. And it just goes down the instrumentation all the way through, with the fifths on the other side of the bridge, between the bridge and the fingerboard. I'm sure that's probably not what the listeners in the morning want to be hearing.
You know what? They just did, and you know what? It wasn't 10 minutes, and it was only a few, and it's fascinating to consider how so much of nature and so much of the cosmos influences what you bring out of your instrument. Where did that fascination come from for you?
Well, I did go to divinity school, so I have been asking these questions for my whole life, basically. I just think we live in a wondrous place, and we understand a lot but we also don't understand it all by any means. And I'm just fascinated by interpreting these ideas and this truth to our existence in sound and on string instruments, and with just how does that work, and just curious. And then just it's really a journey, but it's also, as a composer, there is a bit of a compulsion to it. Like, it's so hard to do that unless you have a compulsion to do it, and like it has to get out in order for me to be at peace. Like, once I'm working on something and I'm in it, I have to get it out. I have to, or else I'm like, or else I don't even want to think about what my psyche is going to be doing.
Right. Well, and you have to share it and get it out in different ways as well. I would imagine that the way you communicate about your music to chamber musicians in Phoenix might be a little bit different than the way that you've had to communicate with the musicians of the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra. Maybe when it comes up in different forms and different players, different people that are sharing your musical language. What is it like to communicate these ideas to an ensemble that you meet on, Tuesday, and then you perform with on, Wednesday?
Well, the rehearsal was beautiful, and there were some glorious moments, as I told them. They sounded great, and I'm really touched with the way that they are interpreting the piece. I did actually say maybe a little less discipline. When I write con fuoco in a place at the beginning of it's hard to describe exactly where it is in the piece, but it's like in the first quarter of the piece.
Okay.
The second violins and the violas have con fuoco. And so that means with fire. And I just asked them to play more with fire and do a pre-accelerando to the written accelerando. And I just said, you guys are so disciplined. Like, you're not getting faster when you get louder. And I actually kind of want you to get faster. So, I've been very impressed by the discipline and the rigor and the integrity with which they've approached the score. And then I basically have to tell them to loosen up. And then in Mozart, as we're playing the Mozart, because we didn't even get into the fact that the Sinfonia Concertante, another just warm, jubilant piece in one of the great works ever written, ever thought of, is also in E-flat major. So there's so much joy.
3 pieces in E-flat major.
3 pieces in E-flat major. But then I said, okay, when we're in the Mozart, I'm like, okay, I think we have to be a little disciplined here.
Right.
My stuff, not so much. But Mozart, okay, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
Right. How do you approach E-flat major, a key with a lot of sunniness, joy, sincerity, maybe we could ascribe to E-flat major. How do we approach this as Tula stands up? How do you approach the differences of undisciplined E-flat major, if we can call it that, in your music versus rigid classical E-flat major in Mozart?
Well, I don't think it necessarily has to do with the pitches. It just has to do with the passage work, maybe. So the place in Primal Message that they're actually in the key area of G minor at this point, the con fuoco. So I wanted that figure to go forward. So then let's think about a passage at the end of the tutti of the exposition of the first movement of the Mozart Sinfonia Concertante. So we end up in, what is my part is I'm playing arpeggios. And then the orchestra comes in. And so one thing where I would say we need disciplined passage work is the... Oh, well, I don't play this part.
Long day.
You need discipline in there, right?
Yeah.
It's not con fuoco. But it's full and round and orchestral so that's what I mean by maybe, that's not the exact passage that we were talking about, but that's just a good comparison.
Right. Absolutely it is. So we have these 3 pieces in E flat major, and then we have the Hofhannes. How, when we talk about these, I'm going to call them dialogues. When we talk about these dialogues with the world around us and the worlds beyond us even, how does Mozart enhance the experience of a message that you send to these places light years away in our galaxy?
Well, if we're broadcasting anything at all, we're already sending messages out there. So it's not like it's anything special like that. We're sending messages out there into the solar system and light years away. We're doing it every day. But Mozart, I mean, what a storied, incredible spirit who lived with us for only an instant, and look at what he left. He was definitely touched by a creative essence, embodied, that couldn't last so long in a body, right? I mean, but the Sinfonia Concertante is one of the greatest pieces of music ever written. I could play it every single day for the rest of my life and be happy as a clam.
Wow.
So how does his writing and treatment of E-flat major, I mean, I don't know what to say except it's just absolutely gorgeous. And joyful,
what else do you need, too?
But also so poignant and so touching. That second movement, it's almost as dramatic as what you would imagine from like a scene in The Godfather, like a really sad, but familia, like tragedy. But then the light and the love and the comes shining through, and the hope. He brings us to a sad place but we always have the hope.
With that hope, I would imagine that also gets fueled by the I'm going to say optimism that comes with studying divinity, your theological background, that there is something greater than us out there that fuels this. What do you hope audiences take away from this program, from Tides and Transmissions on a spiritual level, given the experience that you, Aislinn Noski, and the orchestra have crafted for this evening?
Just that people can enjoy, have peace of mind, peace of heart. There's nothing greater.
Wow. Tides and Transmissions takes place tonight at 7:30. We'll have more information at our website, classic107.com, and the Classic 107 app. Nokuthula Ngwenyama, I feel like I could talk to you all day. You have a concert to prepare for. This has been such a joy having you here in the Classic 107 studios, and we're so grateful that you took the time to join us here on the program.
Thanks so much. It's been great being here, Nolan.